Hey, what's up, nerds? It is Paul at Radio Free Hammer Hall. Today, I have my own personal bone daddy, my boy Ross, here to talk about the Ossiarch Bonereapers. How the hell are you, my dude?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm doing good. Out here on a Thursday, living life, loving it.
Yeah. So, we're going to go through the new OBR index. I haven't gotten too deep into this yet, but I know that you, I don't know, live, eat, I would say breathe, but I know most of your breathing involves certain vapors or smokes, which are not bone laced. So, anyway, so high level initial impressions of this thing. I know you are like all over this. This is like the only army you play, and you play it all the time.
Well, I think, as in previous discussions, that your thoughts on playing OBR have to change. It's not like third edition as well. As much as the points might seem they stayed the same for third edition, they're not. Starting with our battle traits.
Yeah, I mean,
they
you
are
basically,
good.
yeah,
They
like you've still got your relentless discipline. It's just done in kind of an odd presentation.
Yeah. Picking a hero, you have to be wholly within 12 inches of the hero to use said relentless discipline.
Yep.
The reform ranks, I'll start there, is awesome. It is the being able to retreat and still charge in the same phase. That's big. That is really big.
That is an incredibly powerful ability.
Yes, and when used correctly, can hands down win you the game, or at least tie up your opponent terribly so.
Yeah.
Unstoppable advance, that's our old +3 movement. Now, instead of having to spend a command point on it, it's just an aura. Wholly within 12, you get to add 2 to the movement characteristic. So you can still run and use it now.
Yeah.
See, going down to the charge phase ones, adding 1 to charge rolls is pretty nice. Still, again, wholly within 12. The Counter Strike one is fantastic. Go ahead, get charged. Charge me. Give me +1 rend.
+1 rend is really good. That's the one that you're probably going to be using a lot on your opponent's turn. Like, basically, like, just to get like very high level on these, there's basically like 3 pairs of them. All of them are a 12-inch aura coming off of one of your heroes, and you either pick a movement phase 1, you get a charge phase 1, and you get a combat phase 1 every turn. And you pick between one of 2.
On a note for the Counter-Strike one, the anti-charge +1 rend is great. It does not stack with Mortek, who already have anti-charge, so there is no +2 charge. Unfortunately, they do not stack together. That's my only, I want to say, hiccup here, but we'll get down to the War Scrolls here in a little bit.
Yep.
Down to your combat phase ones, Bludgeon and Impenetrable Breaks. So Bludgeon gives you +1 to wound rolls.
Yep. Sure does.
That's our old +1 to rend. I can see why they changed it, as they gave us a +1 rend ability in the charge phase.
Yeah.
My personal preference, I would have liked to see +1 hit instead of wound, but that's because our things that we care about wounding with high damage are already on 2s. We'll get down there though. On Impenetrable Ranks, that 5+ ward, fantastic. That is really nice, especially when you get cheeky using Immortus on your heroes. That's the one you're going to be seeing most of, I would like to say, because we are a very small army at this point.
Yeah. So I think one of the important things I think on coordinated charge is that that's any charge phase, so that will also work on your counter charges.
Yes. Yes.
which is very valuable. So basically, movement phase, you're either adding 2 to move or you are retreating and charging. Charge phase, you're either +1 to charge or anti-charge +1 rend. And then combat phase, you're either +1 to wound or 5 up ward. And all of your stuff already has a 6 up ward, so it's basically +1 to ward rolls.
Yeah. I want to say with these, generally, if you want to get the most out of them, you're going to probably take Cat because of the 18 inches instead of 12. But
yep.
It's a really good ability. It does force us to castle, I will say, which I don't care for. It's what it is, though. Like, that's what they gave us, and it's what we're going to have to work around.
Yeah. All right. Battle formations. Mortison Council, you just add 1 to all of your casting rolls for your infantry wizards, which I believe means not Arcane, right?
Correct. He already has a built-in.
He has +3 built in, right?
+2 built in.
+2. Yeah. Oh, he's Wizard 3. That's right. +2.
Wizard 3, yeah, +2.
Yeah. Next one, you can pick 3 Mortret crawlers wholly within your friendly territory that haven't moved. You add 1 to hit rolls for each of the target's shooting attacks for the rest of the turn. So that's like if you're going to lean into a Mortec barrage list. Cavalos Lance, once per battle in the deployment phase, you pick 3 OBR Cavalry, and they can make a 6-inch move, but can't end that move in combat. And then the Mortec Phalanx, once per turn in your movement phase, you roll a die. On a 5-up, you set up a replacement unit with half the number of models from the target unit, rounding up on the battlefield more than 9 from all enemy units. So you pick a Mortec Guard unit that's been destroyed, and you set up a replacement unit on a 5-up.
Yep, half the models. Yeah, that's not great.
What is this? What are you giving me?
Just put it on your wall. Mom wanted me to distribute them.
Okay, thank you, dear. We've been invaded. We did actually. We played our first game of Spearhead last night, which was
nice.
Fun. Yes,
I'm gonna do that.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah, go away. Children are a blessing.
Oh, liars. I mean, yes, 100%.
So how are you feeling on these? Like, what are you picking out of these 4?
So I don't care for the Mortec one, being that it's once per turn, it's on a 5+. So I mean, you can do it on each your opponent's turn. You get a chance at it. It's still a 5+ to get 5 or 10 models back.
Yeah,
it's not great. I think your standard is going to be the +1 casting. Our spells are very good. Our endless spells are very good.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably going to be the standard of what you're going to see.
Yeah.
Crawler Barrage, if you're running at least 2,
Yeah.
it's not terrible. I think a crawler, personally, is a must take. I wish it would come down in points. I'm hoping it comes down in points.
Yeah. Important to note on the crawler barrage is that it's your shooting phase, so you can't use that in like when you spend a command point and do it in your opponent's turn.
Yeah. So on your opponent's turn, if you friendly fire, you're on 5s.
Yeah. Not good.
It's not good.
not reliable.
And then the Cavalos one, there is some play here.
Yeah.
The Cavalry is, of the stuff we got, the Cavalry is decent. So if you really want to run 3 big units of cav and move them up quick and try to turn 1 alpha charge, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of eggs in one basket, though. I'll tell you that. It's not going to be cheap.
Yep.
So,
and that's going to include your Cavalos heroes though as well, right? So you
correct.
can move Cavalos hero up so that you can do that, and then you can like alpha block with those potentially, like move them up and then use impenetrable ranks to give all your guys a 5-up ward.
+1
to pin your opponent in their deployment zone.
Free 6-inch move, +2 to their movement in the movement phase, +1 charge in the charge phase.
Yep.
They're 2 damage a pop on the charge.
Yeah, and what's their normal move? Probably 10.
10, I believe.
Yeah, so they're gonna hustle right across that board. You can make them really fast.
They can charge over screens. Like their cavalry's good.
Yeah, the cav in this army I like a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think like the Mortec phalanx, I think is just like, I don't know, like you don't want your Mortec, like your Mortec aren't going to be dying that much to begin with. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of an odd, like, kind of an odd one.
Especially with the way they want you to play the army. Like,
yeah.
Any of the other 3 are a better pick.
Yeah.
Than the Mortec phalanx at this point.
Yep. All right. Your heroic traits. Diversionary tactics, subtract 2 from charge rolls for enemy units while they are within 12 inches of this unit. That can be really powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Aura of Sterility, subtract 1 from wound rolls for shooting attacks that target friendly Bonereapers units while they're wholly within 12. And then Mighty... What the heck?
Arcosian.
There's the word. Arcosians. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack that targets the unit is 1 through 3, the attack fails and the attack sequence ends. So you can only be hit on a 4-up.
Correct.
I feel like for me, I probably want the diversionary tactics like all the time.
Yeah, unless you have a local meta that is very heavy shooting, which I will say the shooting armies have plenty of ways of getting bonuses to wound. So I don't know that that's as helpful as it seems. I would definitely take diversionary tactics.
Yeah.
Go ahead, drop outside, drop within 9 inches away from me.
Yeah. All right, and then our artifacts, the Marrow Pact for the rest of the turn. This is a once per battle in the combat phase. For the rest of the turn, if the unmodified hit roll for an attack that targets this unit is a 1 or 2, inflict 1 mortal damage on the target or at the attacking unit after all of the fight abilities have been resolved. Load of Saturation, the hero just gets a 5-up ward. And the Helm of Tyranny, subtract 2 from the control scores of enemy units while they're within 12 inches of him.
Yeah, you're not taking anything outside of Helm of Tyranny here.
Yeah.
We're already going to 5+ ward from one of our Legion's abilities. And I want none of my heroes in combat other than the Soul Reaper. And he should be having something fight right after him anyways that clears out what's around him.
Right. So, yeah, I definitely agree. Helm of Tyranny is really strong compared to the other 2, at least. But all 3 of these, I feel like, are not super exciting.
No.
All right. Then our spell lore. I know you mentioned you like the spell lore.
Oh, yeah.
Your unlimited spell, Empower Nadirite Weapons. This checks all of the boxes for all the things that make for a good unlimited spell. It casts on 5. It targets your stuff. Like, those are like the 2 most important things. So, and it just makes the unit score hits on crits on 5s.
Yep, that's all it does, but it does exactly what I need it to.
But like a ton of the army, much as it did in previous editions, like everybody's got crit 2 hits.
Yep, and
so crit 2 hits
so
on 5s is very good.
You multicast this out there, throw it on your big bad stuff, and throw them out. Just watch them eat.
Drain Vitality casts on a 7. Until the start of your next turn, subtract 1 from hit rolls for the target's attacks and subtract 1 from save rolls for the target. So just generally weakens an enemy unit. It's only a 12-inch range, but still a strong effect.
Yeah, you're going to have a wizard danger close to use it, so...
Yeah.
Make sure you have a screen.
Yeah. And then we got Shard Storm casts on a 7. You pick a visible enemy unit within 18. 18's good. To be the target, roll a number of dice equal to the number of models in the unit for every 5 up. Inflict 1 mortal damage on the target. So just a horde thinner.
Oh, yeah. Give me rats. Let's go.
Yeah. Show me those dumb rats. And then all of our manifestations cast on 6. And for some stupid reason, all of the manifestation, like, scrolls are always at the back, but we'll just tuck that away in our brains that these all cast on a 6 and you set them up within 12 and more than 9 away from enemies.
Yep, nothing changes. All the same.
Yep. All right. Big Daddy Nagash. He is an absolutely outrageous number of points. He is 880 points. For move 10, 18 health, 3 up save, 5 up ward. So it's going to take a lot to bring him down.
Wizard level 9.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's +2 to all of his casting rolls. Like all the time.
Not dispelling.
Yeah. Not dispelling, which is interesting. I've noticed that a lot, that there's a lot of things that'll like, if they have a casting bonus, it doesn't necessarily apply to...
The only one I've seen so far, I think, is Slan.
Yeah. He's still got his Hand of Dust that... which is basically the same thing that it's always been. And it's once per turn. He once per battle, he can set up a replacement unit for any non-hero, non-unique death unit, wholly within 12 of himself and more than 9 from enemies. And then he's got his Invocation of Nagash cast on a 7, which is really a 5 because he's got a Staff of Power. So you pick a visible unit wholly within 18. If the target is an enemy, you inflict D3 mortal damage on it. If it is a friendly death unit, then you return a number of slain models to the target with a combined health characteristic of up to 3, and the target has a 5-up ward until the start of your next turn. How do you feel about our Supreme Lord of the Undead?
I think 880 points is a lot. I think there are lists to be had with him in them.
Yeah.
You're throwing everything in at it though, and I don't know. I've never used Nagash before. He's not my cup of tea. It's always been too many points when I can spend them elsewhere for better stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't just put unlimited at the bottom of his keyword for that spell. Could have saved you a whole sentence there. But sure. Yeah.
What I think is odd with this is that he is a wizard 9, but I don't think there's a way to get him to cast more than 7 or 8 spells in a turn. Right? Like the biggest The biggest manifestation lores have 4 spells in them. Then you've got 3 spells in your lore, plus 1 is War Scroll, is max of 8.
Well, a wizard can only cast 1 manifestation per turn, anyways. So he's only getting 1.
Yeah.
And then, so I mean, the invocation is unlimited, so you can target as many units as you have in range for it. And then Exploding Nadrite's unlimited, so you're going to throw that on as many people as you can. But yeah, I agree. It's a lot of repetitive casting, especially if you're not in range to use, our 12-inch one, or if there's no hordes within range worth using the 5+ on.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's just a lot for half your army.
Yeah. Hand of Dust being end of any turn is a rampage too.
Yeah.
There's my boy.
Yeah, your boy Cat. I will let you take this one because I know he is
near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
So
he's stolen many command points for you.
Yes, he has, and he continues to do so. God love him. So if you're gonna use Cat, I'm gonna say talking about him. Gives you 18 inches on all of our allegiance abilities there. So go to use them. That's the biggest thing. If you're gonna run him, I would suggest not using Morghast. And my reasoning is they're designed to be ran outside of range and still be considered in it using Harbingers. Archai are not worth running at this point. They're too many points, especially with him being 500 points. Just save yourself the hassle and don't try to make it work. It just doesn't at this point. But his passive. So you're going to add 3 to control scores for all other friendly Ossiarch Bonereapers with an 18. That is huge. You should be able to cover, if placed right, 2 objectives, maybe even 3 with him, and be like, I own these. Come take them from me. Your hero phase ability, remember this costs a command point to use. So if you're going to use it, you're down to 3 automatically. You're going to pick 3 units wholly within 18 of him. You're going to give them +1 to their save rolls. It's a great ability. Just be aware that it is going to cost you a command point to use.
There's not a lot of ways to improve your saves in the game now.
Yeah.
So that's really powerful.
It is very powerful. Changing from last edition, he just gets his full attacks now. You don't have to be wounded. And if you are wounded, you actually lose 2 now if you go down below half his health. 3 3s, -2, 3 damage, crit 2 on his big one. It's great. It's a great profile. Get him in fighting some heroes and stuff like that. Retinue blades are still good. He can clear out hordes. He will clear out monsters. He'll clear out elite infantry. Back him up with the unit of Immortus, and he is damn near impossible to move. So I like him. He's in a lot of my lists that I've been building. I plan on seeing him a lot in OBR lists, so expect it.
Yeah, and then with that, the artifact that you have, if you use that plus Katakros, you're adding 3 to your control scores and subtracting 2 from enemy control scores, or is it 3?
2 -2.
So you've got a 5-point swing on control scores.
You should own whatever you're in range of.
Yeah.
And then the once per turn, just stopping somebody's command on a 5+. A lot of times you're not going to hit it, but when you do, man, is it impactful.
Yep, especially when it's a counter charge and they just drained 2 command points into it.
I know.
All right. Archon the Black. He's a wizard 3. He flies 12 inches. He's only +1 to cast, but every time he successfully casts a spell, he heals 1.
Yes, that's what he's +1.
Whenever your opponent tries to cast a spell, if a friendly OBR unit within 18 was picked to be the target, you roll a die on a 4-up, you ignore the effect of the spell. And this unit can use his ability more than once per phase, but only once per spell.
Yeah.
Curse of Years basically does the same thing it's always done. Casts on a 6. You pick an enemy unit within 18. You roll 10 dice. Every 6 inflicts a mortal damage, and you roll an extra die. And then those extra dice that you roll are on 5s, and then 4s, then 3s, then 2s, until you make someone cry.
Oh yeah. I'm for 90 points more. You can get Cat. So I haven't taken him much. I've if you've got a magic heavy meta in your local area, you'll probably get more mileage out of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got a rampage that just kind of does damage.
Yeah.
Doubles if it's a hero, but it doesn't feel like you really want to get him into combat. Like he's not a combat monster.
Not good in combat. No. Yeah. He's definitely a downgrade from last edition. And he's more points. So I personally am not going to be running Arkin right now, but he's a cool looking model, and he's if you again are running a magic heavy meta, you got a lot of stuff in there, you're going to get mileage out of that 4+. Go ahead, run him.
All right, Archcavalos Zendos, charge +1 damage and crit 2 hits on his lance, which is pretty solid. Spear of the Cavioli. When he charges, he can pass through models in enemy infantry units as though he had fly. He does D3 on a 2+ for all of the infantry units that he passed across when he charges. And once per battle, if he's in combat, for the rest of the turn, add 1 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly non-hero Ossiarch Bonereapers units while they're wholly within 12 inches of him.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
You combine him with 2 units of Cavalos. Like I said, you can get a good turn 1 alpha strike out of popping that ability and just going all in on it.
Yeah.
So.
And he's only 230. Like, he is pretty cheap for everything.
For what he does, he is pretty damn cheap.
Yep.
I definitely see him having play, especially in the Cavalos Alpha Strike list. He's good even in a normal list. There's nothing wrong with +1 attack once per game or once per battle. It'll help turn the tides. Yep. And 3+, he's got good damage, crit 2. I mean, you're gonna throw him +1 wound and let him eat.
Yeah. So definitely like this guy. I feel like he's going to show up in a lot of lists. All right. Volk-Mortian? Volk the Martian?
Volk-Mortian? Martian? However, he's one I have personally never ran him in any of the editions that he's been out, but he is better than he was. I will give him that.
Yep. So once per battle in any hero phase, you can pick a visible enemy unit within 12 inches to be the target for the rest of the turn. Non-fight core abilities cost 1 command point for the target to use.
Yeah, a good way to shut down a key unit. Scared that he's within 12.
Yeah.
But that'd be broken if it was 18 inches, not gonna lie.
Yeah, but that's like, that has the kind of like shut you off power that like
Be'lakor does.
Be'lakor has.
Yeah.
For 190 points.
Yeah, it's big. That's why I said he's definitely better than previous editions. Mortal Contract, while very wordy, is also very good.
Yeah.
So, he's a 2-cast wizard as well. So you're going to get mileage out of him.
Yep.
190 points. I will say that 190 points.
Yeah.
I can definitely see him being ran though, and shutting off somebody like that is so damn strong.
Yeah. So Mortal Contract, you pick an enemy unit within 18 inches of him to be bound, and pick a visible friendly unit within 18 inches to be bound. Then you cast until the start of your next turn. Each time the bound friendly unit is picked by the target of an ability used by the bound enemy unit, roll the d3 on a 2+ inflicted amount of damage equal to the roll as a reaction. If the bound enemy unit is destroyed, do not resolve the effect of the enemy ability.
So to help out with that, what this is going to affect you with is shooting, being charged, combat attacks. If they have charge effects where they do mortal wounds to you by being charged, it'll do it. It'll trigger off that.
Yep.
Anything that's going to have that unit target you. So you can get some mileage out of this unless they decide to just not do anything with that unit because it's so. But hey, you've shut down a unit that way too. That's their decision. So not bad. The cast on a 7 again. So there is that. But you're probably, if you're running him, you're probably running the +1 cast sub-faction anyways. I call it sub-faction, but the big thing there.
Yeah, definitely an interesting one. All right, Bone Shaper. Once per turn, you pick a friendly unit within 12. You roll a die on a 3+. If the unit's damaged, you can heal 3. If it is not damaged, you return a number of slain models to the unit with combined health characteristic of up to 3.
Okay, so this is our recursion wizard. 140 points. He is going to net you a decent heal on some Mortec or pop a horseback if he's in range. It's much better. I'll say this used to be within 6 inches. Wholly within 12 is much better than it used to be. 1 cast wizard, so you're gonna get some use out of him using our unlimited spell or one of our endless spells, needing to get it out there. Yeah, he's good, especially if you're running Mortec. If you're not going to run Mortec heavy, though, you're probably going to pass on him. It's just there's no need. I just don't see it if you're not running at least a 20 block of Mortec. To use him. So that's that.
Yeah, and he's only 140 points for a very strong ability, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're probably not using that on the first turn, but potentially getting back, probably 12 Mortec guard over the course of the game. That's like a whole unit. More than a whole unit of Mortec guard that are 130 points for 10. So, like, he's earning his points back just in the Mortec he can bring back. Well, except it's on a 3-up, so it's not happening every time.
It's not free. It's not just automatic. It used to be just automatically happen. No, now it's costing you a 3+. So there's every chance you roll that 1 or 2 and just nothing happens.
Yeah. Are you feeling this guy? Are you a buyer?
I'm not feeling him. If you're gonna run Mortec heavy, if that's your theme, you want to run the phalanxes and stuff like that, then yeah, you're probably gonna run multiple of them, and if you roll the occasional 1 or 2, it's not gonna matter that much. But barring that, I'm not gonna run him. Not at 140 points.
Yep. All right, the Ossiarch. Once per turn in your hero phase, you pick a friendly Gothazar Harvester, Morghast Archai, or Morghast Harbinger's unit wholly within 12. Roll the die on a 3+, add 1 to the Ren characteristic of the target's melee weapons until the start of your next turn. And he is another Wizard 1. Excuse me.
Yeah, I believe he is 120 points.
Yeah, he's 120.
120. So important distinction here. His ability is a once per turn army, so you can't have multiple of him. You get one shot at this with one of them. That's it.
Yep.
It's on a 3+. It's only 3 different units you can pick from. Of those, the only one we really care about are the Harbingers. Because if you're running harvesters, you need that 120 points to run additional soul masons.
Yep.
So, if it, I want to say if it wasn't once per turn army, if it was once per turn, you'd see more use because you could use him up on different ones. But as of right now, at 120 points for one unit that he's going to work on for one turn, because they're going to run the hell away from you. It's just not that useful. It's not, to be honest. One cast wizard is, you can spend the points better elsewhere.
Yep. All right, and the Soul Reaper. You subtract 1 from wound rolls for combat attacks made by enemy units while they are in combat with him. He's got a 4-up save, 5 health, 6-up ward. So it's going to be he's not going to survive very long with most things.
Nope. His Soul Reaper Scythe also 3 attacks, 4's to hit, 3's to wound, 2 damage, 2 rend, crit 2. You're not clearing out much with him. His big thing is right there, the reaction. Clarified ability, you're going to have him fight, and then you're going to have the unit right next to him clear out whatever he didn't kill.
Yep. And it gives them +1 to hit.
You're running him next to a unit of 6 stalkers or 4 Morghast or 6 Immortus and telling them, go eat. Go kill whatever you see that's next to me after I swing.
Yep. And he's another 140 points. Yep, 140 points. So
you can
that feels like a lot for what he's doing.
Yeah. I'd like to see him come down 20 points, but I will say, using him, neat ability. If you use Soul Mason, you get strikes first on somebody, have them fight, then have him fight, and then he picks another unit. So you're getting 3 activations before your opponent gets to go, which is great.
So your Mortis and Soul Mason, he is a Wizard 2.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to spell that casts on a 7 for Soul Guide. You pick a friendly unit wholly within 12, and that unit strikes first for the rest of the turn.
Oh, yeah.
That's a strong spell.
That is a very strong spell. Again, this is why you're going to see the sub-faction for +1 casting ran most of the time.
Yes.
You're saving a command point for your opponent's turn, so that you can throw this on somebody you need and going, hey, he's going to strike first for your turn, too.
Yeah.
So this is
that's very strong.
He's been in almost every one of my lists so far. I really like him.
Yeah.
2 casts out of him, so you're getting an endless spell, or you're getting exploding Nadrite plus this out of him. It's really.
All right, and then our this is a Warcry warband, right?
Yeah, it's our only source of deep strike in the entire army.
Yeah, which
it's not good.
So in your deployment phase, you can set them up in reserve, and then in your movement phase, you can set them up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 from enemy units. 140 points for 8 models. That deep strike. Is it worth it?
No, that's it. Their weapons aren't great. I mean, they're a Warcry warband. You shouldn't expect something overpowered anyways. But
yeah,
I'd rather spend 130 on 10 more tech.
Yep.
Or 40 more points and get me some Cavalos.
Yep. All right. Your Mortec Guard, your bread and butter, your stalwart defenders of the Bone Daddies. Move 4, save 4, 6-up ward. They're Nadirite weapons, 2 attacks, 3s, 4s, no rend, 1 damage, crit 2 hits, and anti-charge +1 rend. And they can form a shield wall as a passive ability. Ignore all modifiers to save rolls for this unit for the rest of the turn if they did not move.
Yeah, so big deal. As long as I don't, as long as As long as nobody redeploys with them during your
Yeah.
opponent's turn, it's just going to be on. So that's great.
Yep.
Works against shooting now too, so not just combat attacks like it used to be. That's nice. I'm being greedy. I wish it just said negative. That's just me though. I know that's dumb.
Yeah.
So, nah, they're good. They're a good infantry unit, and if you're going to lean into blocks of them, then
Yeah.
by all means, if that's how you want to play.
It's interesting. Like these guys, my memory of these guys through previous editions was that they are incredibly hard to shift, and you can tool them up to hit really hard. And I'm not sure they do either of those things really well anymore.
They do not. They you can get them kind of tanky. Obviously, you can throw them on 4-up, 5-ups. So there is that. But if you're relying on them being tanky, you're running them in blocks of 20, not blocks of 10, and they don't hit hard enough in a block of 10 to justify.
Yeah.
Trying to build that way.
The interesting thing too about that shield wall ability is that is not a May. That is like if you don't move, they have their shield wall on. So, like basically, in order to get like your like to be able to all out defense them at all, like you have to move with them.
And then,
which means like they're not going to be like unless you redeploy with them in your opponent's turn, they're not like they're just stuck on that 4-up unmodifiable save.
Yeah, and it don't hurt yourself. Remember this, folks. If you're running Cat and you're giving him +1 save off his ability, keep moving him.
Yeah,
it's only going to help you against no rend weapons, and
yeah,
there's not a lot of those in the game at this point. So you're almost always better off sitting still, just having that on, than moving these guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
how the mighty have fallen.
And this is what I mean by having to run as a castle, because if you want them to have that 5-up board, you have to stay wholly within 12. So it's.
Yep. All right. Immortus Guard. These guys have a 3-up save and 4 health each. 3 attacks each, 3s, rend 1, 2 damage, crit 2 hits. And you add 1 to ward rolls for friendly OBR heroes within his combat range. However, those ward rolls pass off to them
On a roll of a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's a great ability. You can easily put your heroes to 4-up wards in the combat phase. I mean, by keeping one of them close to Cat.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not as good as it was previously, offloading wounds into them and using them that way, but that's what's changed here. So
yeah,
they lost their fight twice. They don't do that anymore. They lost a point of rend. They lost a point of health.
Yep. And they're 200 points for 3 of them.
Yeah, realistically, you're not taking more than 3 of them. You're going to keep 3 around your core heroes, and that's pretty much it.
Yep. All right. Necropolis Stalkers, 4 attacks each, 3s, rend 2, 1 damage, crit 2 hits. But they have their Quadrarch aspects. In any combat phase, you pick one of the following effects to apply for the rest of the turn. Subtract 3 from the control scores of enemy units in combat with them. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for combat attacks that target them. Ward rolls cannot be made for damage points inflicted by their attacks. And this unit's melee weapons have anti-hero +1 rend while it's in combat with an enemy hero.
So, Stalkers. Stalkers are a unit that needs to probably go down about 20 points. But, barring that, they're 180 for 3 of them. You're getting 12 attacks.
Yep.
3 threes, -2, 1 damage. You're either, for damage in this army, you're either going to lean into Morghast or you're going to lean into Stalkers.
Yeah. What's interesting here is that there's another control score modifier. Now we're up to like a potential 8 control score swing, like on an objective, which is a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's big. You can definitely just take auto control of stuff by only having a couple of models in range, even if they have a lot, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Using these guys though, run them in a 6 block, make them your honor guard unit, and give them +1 rend against whatever the main thing is in your opponent army.
Yep.
I know they're only running 1 damage, but if you're getting a bunch of attacks through, especially with crit 2, shutting off them being able to use wards and they have no armor save, you're just killing whatever you touch.
Yep.
You're very rarely going to use the blade parry aspect, I would think, unless you're going to be the only thing being attacked at that point. Then yeah, make yourself -1 to hit, 5+ ward, throw a +1 save on them, and hope you survive.
Yeah.
The subtract 3 if they've got a lot of models. If you can just shut down stuff and take it over. Usually they're going to kill whatever they touch though, so that's rarely I think are you going to be using that one. And then the precision aspect for the anti-hero. Most heroes have a ward save. I'm shutting ward save off before I give them anti-hero +1 rend.
Yeah, there's a lot of ward saves now in this game.
Yeah. Barring that hero, which at that point I think that's the only place you're going to see anti-hero +1 rend coming in effect. Yeah, you're almost always going to be using destroyer aspect.
Yeah. Yep. So interesting, but I mean, if you're going for damage dealers, your Immortus Guard are going to do more damage for sure.
I don't know. They're doing more damage flat on damage, obviously, but
yeah, these guys are interesting in that they have some flexible abilities to make them a little bit better.
They definitely made a distinction between the two and how they want you to run them. I don't know if I agree with it, but I can also see why they didn't make these guys damage too.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yep.
I do.
All right, Liege Cavalos. So 10-inch move, 3-up save, 7 health. He's got his Commander's Blade, charge +1 damage, and crit 2 hits. Definitely good. His steed is present for the battle. So he has that same ability again, where he is treated as having fly against enemy infantry models, and then he does mortal damage to infantry models that he passes across. And then he has a reaction. When you declare a fight ability for him, you pick a friendly Cavalos Death Riders unit that hasn't used his fight ability, and they fight immediately after. But they don't get any buffs. It's just a chain fight, and that's it.
Yep, that's just a chain fight. The I will say for the Soul Reaper, he does give +1 to hit to whoever he gives the fight to. So
yep,
that is nice. But yeah, again, with him, I think you'll see him in the Cavalos list. Most likely.
I mean, for the extra 20 points, I would rather just go with the named guy.
So, I kind of see you running both, to be honest. You're going to pop name guy to give +1 attack to everybody.
Yep.
strikes first on something from a Soul Mason, let it fight. Let this dude fight. Let another unit of Cavalos fight, and then you've got your big hero to fight, clean everything up after a 3-inch pylon. So, I like him. 210 points, like you said, for another 20, you're getting a dude that gives, once per game +1 attack to everybody within 12, but +1 rend, +1 damage also for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see you easily run both of these if you're going to lean into the Cavalos.
All right. Mortek Crawler gets 4 shots at 24 inches. Hits on 4s, wounds on 2s, rend 1, D3 +2 damage, anti-infantry +1 rend, and crit 2 hits. And if you shoot all of its shots at one target, you add 1 to hit rolls for or add 1 to the roll if it's wholly within 12 units of a Mortis and Ossiarch, and add 1 to the roll if any other friendly Mortek Crawler units have been picked that have picked that enemy unit to be the target this turn. On a 4-up, the target strikes last.
Yeah, it's a real wordy to tell you that it's going to give strikes last on a 4+, possibly a 3+, possibly a 2+. Again, if you're running, I'll say this: if you're going to run a unit of Mortison or of a Mortison Artifactor, and you're going to run a unit of Morghast Harbingers and a couple of crawlers, or at least 1 crawler, you're going to get mileage out of this. You should be. I'm going to be running a catapult helmet. Giving strikes last to a unit, you're going to spend a point to shoot. You don't have to hit. You can hit on 5. You don't have to hit. Market ability. Strikes last. Big. I know you're picking the closest unit, but usually the closest unit is what you want to shoot anyways.
Yeah.
Gives you time to finagle him. He's got, if you have the +2 and he's within range, you're getting 7 inches of movement out of the damn catapult. So, if you're gonna lean into catapults, probably gonna run the Ballistari, so you're gonna get +1 to hit for him while they're sitting on your side. You're gonna leave them behind. Remember, they don't fight well.
Yeah.
They'll die. 12 wounds, 4-up save. And if you keep moving, I like it. I like the strikes last, so I'm going to definitely be using it. And the anti-infantry D3 +2, you will murder through stuff. Pretty quickly.
Yeah, like that's definitely doing a solid amount of damage. And 24 inches is about as far as range goes in this edition. So
yeah, no minimum range anymore either, which is really nice.
Yes. Just no shooting combat.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious that you would have ever been able to do that to begin with a catapult, but
it was funny. Are you not wholly within 6? Oh, sad day.
Oh, sorry to hear that, buddy. All right, your Cavalos Death Riders. These guys feel like they are one of the best scrolls in the book.
Hands down.
Yeah, I mean, not just scroll, but like with all of the synergy that you have, I feel like have heavy lifts are definitely going to be a thing. So they move 10, 3 health, 4-up save, 6-up ward, 3 attacks each on 3s and 4s, rend 1 damage, and they, as with everything else, have crit 2 hits, charge +1 damage. They've got their wedge. When this unit uses a charge ability, it can pass through enemy models as if they had fly if they are infantry, and they do that whole mortal damage on a 2-up to infantry that they pass across when they charge.
Oh yeah, 3 wounds each on a 4+ save, 6-up ward, 2 damage each on their attacks. Crit 2.
Yeah.
This is hands down one of the best rolls that we've gotten.
Yep. Yeah, that wound on a 4 kind of hurts, but
that's what they gave us bludgeon for. +1 wound, putting them to 3s. So Most often
Yeah.
they're going to be in range of the hero.
Yep.
I will say to all you people who end up spamming them, you're going to get their points shot up. So
Yeah. Yeah, don't do that.
tread carefully.
Yeah, and these guys are 180 for 5 of them. So I feel like that is a fair price for a solid scroll. Like, this is your bread and butter staple unit in this army now, I think.
Yeah, they're good in a 5-man. You don't even have to run them in 10. They're good in 5s. So
yeah, and running cavalry in 10s now is like an actual thing that you're going to see a lot still.
yes. And yeah, the 3-inch range. Now I can just. It's great.
Yep.
Fantastic. Oh man.
All right, and our Gothazar Harvester, he does harvesty things every time an enemy model in combat with him is slain. He gets a bone tithe point to a maximum of 6, and then at the end of any turn, you return the number of slain models to target unit with a combined health characteristic of the number of bone tithe points that he has. And then you return to 0. So he does the same sort of harvesty things that he's always done, but it's capped now, and you don't have to roll for it, which is nice. And then once per turn, he can do some gruesome surgery. You pick an enemy infantry unit he's in combat with. Roll a d3 on a 2+, you inflict mortals equal to the roll. And for each model slain by the ability, you return 1 slain model to a friendly Mortec guard unit wholly within 12 of him.
So, for the Harvester, he's got a decent combat profile. 6 attacks, 4 to hit, 2s, -2, 2 damage each, crit 2. The tail is 2 damage at -1, 4 attacks, 4s to hit, 3s wound. Even has a shooting attack. -1, 1 damage, 4 attacks, 4s and 4s. I will say that the gruesome surgery ability, if it was once per turn, this would be great. It'd be a slam dunk.
Yeah, once per turn, army.
It unincentivizes you to run multiples of them because I can't use his multiples of the rampage. That sucks. I will say the bone harvest ability. If you have 2 of them within range of the same model that dies, both of them get the point. That's pretty neat.
Yep.
It's rare that that's going to be the case, but it does work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're going to lean into Mortec, run them. You're going to need them. If you're not leaning into Mortec, save your points. Spend them somewhere else.
Yeah. Because they're just not going to bring that much back to other units.
Yeah. It's not.
230 points for one of these guys. I mean, I think this is definitely going to appear a lot, though. This is still good.
Oh, I think definitely you're going to see people who are running blocks of Mortec. Even if you're running a 20 block and throwing one of these behind it, it's a good pick. It's going to keep them going. It does damage. It can support them.
Yep.
I'm just if you're not running at least 20, if you're running 10 mans, don't take it. Don't waste 230 points.
Yep. All right. Morghast Archai. So they come in units of 2s, as they always have. And these guys are 270, and the Harbingers are also 270 for when we get there. Move 10, 6 health, 3 up save, 3 attacks each, 3s, 2s, rend 2, damage 3, anti-monster +1 rend, and crit 2 hits. In any hero phase, if he has an arcane charge token, you pick a friendly Ossiarch Bonereaper unit wizard within 12 to be the target, and you add 1 to casting rolls. And how do you get those arcane charge tokens? This unit has a ward of 3 up against damage inflicted by spells, prayers, and abilities used by manifestations. And you get an arcane charge token. if he successfully wards anything. So, yeah. I feel like your opponent is just not going to target them with stuff that does damage to them.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's like your opponent is just not going to do that, right? Like you're gonna get these charge tokens from like killing manifestations, and that's about it.
That's pretty much it. Like everybody see this scroll here. The only thing that matters on this scroll, because you're already getting +1 to cast from your subfaction. You really don't care about giving another +1 to cast. You don't. Is the 3+ save. That's it. Switch down to Harbingers for me. Go down.
Yep.
For the same point cost, here is an infinitely better scroll. One worse save. You don't have to be in range of the hero to count for Relentless Discipline. You're always in range. Your passive is giving you an additional dice for your charge roll, so you can charge up to 18 inches away because there is no charge range anymore, just based on how many dice you have that you can make it. They have the same exact weapons. 3 attacks, 3s, 2s, neg 2, 3 damage, anti-monster 1, crit 2. They're the same move. I don't know what their thought process was here. There is no reason to ever take Archai over the ability to take Harbingers at the same point cost. I don't care if Harbingers go up another 20 points. There is no reason to take Archai over Harbingers at all.
Yeah.
0. This is such a good scroll. 270 points, though. You're only getting 2 of them. I'm tell you right now. So you're spending you're not running them in 2-mans. 2-mans of them are terrible. You're going to run them in a minimum 4 for 540 points.
Yeah.
And
then they float around the board, and you don't have to worry about getting targeted or being in an aura for Relentless Discipline.
Yes. And so this is why I'm saying if you're going to run Cat, don't bother with Morghast. They're too expensive in accordance to how expensive he is, and his whole thing is to extend your range of your abilities to 18 inches. They don't care about being in range. You're gonna run these guys either with unnamed heroes, or you're gonna use Arkan with them, or you're gonna use Nagash because he can bring a whole unit of 4 of them back brand new once per game, which is really strong. So that's
these guys are awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're definitely anti-monster hunters. You're going to make them your honor guard if you're running a 4-man to give them anti-infantry or cav or what have you. And they should kill whatever they touch. Especially if you give them strikes first, or the unit they hit strikes last, or all the other buffs that you can possibly throw onto them that we have. Running the Soul Reaper next to them to give them +1 to hit, and having them fight immediately after he does. Awesome ability. They are infantry. Remember that? So anti-infantry affects them. They are not monsters. They're not cav. They're not beasts. I thought they'd be beasts, but they made them infantry. So there you go. This is one of the other better scrolls. I personally would like to see them come down in points. I don't know if you will see them come down in points.
I think they're going to end up getting a lot of play because they're one of the better scrolls in the book.
I think you're going to see Archai come down in points because nobody is going to take them, much like the Harvester was last year not taken. So it's enjoy it while it lasts, because I think they
All right, Nightmare Predator.
Heyo. All right. So our manifestations are good. Not gonna lie, they are very good. This guy here, important distinction: you can't move a manifestation the turn you summon in. I did not know that the first game I played. Knowing that now, important difference. But if he dies on a 4+, you just set him back up, wholly within 12 of the caster and 9 inches from all enemy units. So as long as you keep that 4+ going, you never have to cast him again. Just keep him back. 6 attacks, 4s, 2s, neg 2, 2 damage.
Don't hate it.
I will say, I'm not sure about this. You might know more. I don't know how much more of the rules that you've read into, but they have the Ossiarch Bonereaper keyword, right?
Yep.
So theoretically, all of our allegiance abilities work with them because it all targets Ossiarch Bonereaper units.
Yeah. I just don't know if a
Command-
manifestation counts as a unit.
It does. I know it does in the movement phase if it has a movement ability, and if it
Yeah.
counts in the combat phase if it has a combat ability, which this one does. So that's something I want to figure out. I want to know because that'd be really powerful if my manifestations benefited from my subpack or my allegiance abilities. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. So this guy just doesn't go away, basically.
Cast on a 6, banish on a 7+, 7 health, 5 up save. Yep.
Yep. Then we got our Carrion. You subtract 5 from control scores for enemy infantry while they're within 6 inches of this manifestation.
Mm-hmm. You can really shut something off.
Yeah. We're now up to a potential 13-point swing. That's
Fuck you, Mega Gargant.
well,
infantry. He's not infantry.
Yeah,
Never
infantry.
mind. But
Yeah.
yeah, you get what I mean. Yeah, no, it's great. Move 10. Again, another set up outside of 9, wholly within 12. Casting value of a 6. Get rid of on a 7. Not great in combat, but could clear a screen out. -1, D3 damage each, 6 attacks.
Yep.
Should shut off infantry. They're trying to control stuff. So yeah, no, 100%. I like it. I gotta get mine built because I'd never had a reason before this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's happening with a lot of endless spells now. It's like, oh wait, I can play this now.
Let me go dig them out of my pile of shame.
Yep. And then we got the Shrieker. He's got a 12-inch, 4 attacks, 3 to hit, 4 to wound, rend 1 d3 damage, and can shoot in combat. And you subtract 1 from ward rolls for enemy units while they are within 12 inches of him.
Yes, he is fantastic. I am so glad that he kept the -1 award ability. He is the bane of death armies everywhere.
Yep.
Our endless spells now affect other OBR, which is nice. They used to not do that. So,
Yeah.
He is one that you're going to see cast a lot in an opposing in an enemy unit's turn.
Yeah,
you can't get rid of him, and you're gonna go, oh, -1 ward. Let's do this. So, yeah, I'm very happy, very very happy with the tree.
Yep. Definitely another solid one. Like all 3 manifestations are like you have solid reasons to cast them.
Oh yeah, I ranking right up there with the Kron Spine on Taken. It's between that or a free Krondy.
Yep. And then the Bone Tithe Nexus is your terrain feature. In your hero phase, you pick a visible enemy unit within 18 to be the target. You roll a die. On a 4+, you pick one of the 4 following effects. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for the target. Subtract 1 from casting and or chanting rolls for the target. Have the target's move characteristic until the start of your next turn, or inflict D3 mortal damage on the target.
Yeah. So that move characteristic, that's real strong. That's real. I used that a couple times last week on Source Warriors and such, and knocking them, Chaos Warriors, knocking them down to 2-inch movement.
Mm-hmm.
It's I like it. 13 health on a 4-up save. It
doesn't have a ward.
Nope, no ward save. No ward save on the faction terrain. Yeah, I noticed that too. But I mean, it's got cover and it's unstable. It's pretty neat. If you want to blow it up, go ahead. I'm not going to miss it. It's usually we just use it as a blocking thing, anyways. But
yeah,
it's a good terrain piece. It has good abilities. You can place it in places to cover 2-3 objectives with it to hit stuff and do stupid stuff with it. So, I like it.
Yeah.
A faction terrain, it's a pretty good one.
Yep, and that is it. And it's just into spearhead stuff.
Yeah.
which is a different video entirely. So overall, how are we feeling about this army now?
Overall, hoping for some point drops in the first point pass that we get, to really solidify us. I think if you're going to see it, if the list you're going to see competitively are either going to be very Cavalos heavy,
Yep.
or they're going to be more tech focused. You're going to see Cat a lot if you don't see the Cavalos on there, because you're not running both. Yeah, we're definitely have strong matchups that we clean house against, and we have other ones that we just have no play against. So
yeah,
I love my Bone Boys, and I hope things get better, especially as Battle Tomes start coming out, because it's going to be the haves and have-not soon.
Yeah, well, I mean, hopefully they don't do that to us, but as always, they probably will.
Yeah.
So what are you currently leaning on in your lists?
Currently, of the lists I've been looking at lately, I'm running, Cat plus Stalkers, Catapult support, or the list I was actually working on today is running Unnamed Heroes, some Morghast, and Cavalos, as just go in and rip stuff up, because it's the best of what we got. So got to make the best of the situation you have. I'm gonna have to go build 20 more horses, though. That's not envious. I have them,
but then somewhere. You also have to paint them. That is the other important problem that you have.
That's not my job.
You hire Josh to do that for you.
Thanks.
Nice.
I did have a cool thought, though, as far as how I was going to change the theme of my army up. And how I have the black and red theme, like they're underground right now.
Yeah.
Thinking we're doing a display board that's half outside and half underground. You put half that's outside have like white armor and such on, glowy red gems, and then they're under the ground. They have red armor, or they have the black and red. So something we were kicking around. Might look at it.
You mean ideas that you were kicking around to make Josh do for you? Check.
Thanks. But still, hey, I do all the kit bashing and stuff. You just got to paint it.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
And you know how heavily kit bash my army is.
Yeah, you got to get those points where you can.
Actual statement.
Right, well, it's been fun. I think this is a relatively short one compared to a lot of the other indexes. This was
not a lot in here.
Yeah. But I mean, comparatively though, I think some of these armies just have like model line bloat, and it's like, what do I do with all of this? It's like, it doesn't really feel like you have anything wasted in this army.
No, there's definitely nothing wasted. There are gaps that I'd like to see filled eventually, but that's GW down the road. You can only hope and pray on that. Yep. What we do have, though, again, I don't think you're going to see any major war scroll changes come down the line. That's just not how they do things. Yep. I would like to see points drops on things, and I think they will. Whenever a new edition comes out, they're always conservative on the points.
Yeah.
Everything starts out high, and then we get drops. So, to my other fellow OBR players out there, just wait. Ain't gonna be long. September, most likely, we'll see our first. So.
Yeah. Stay strong. Don't spam anything that you don't want points increases on.
Exactly right. Exactly right. For everybody who's going to enjoy Cavalos, you're going to ruin it for yourself. I'm right there with you, though, because I'm probably going to do it.
All right, man. Well, thanks for being on here with me. It's been fun, as always. And, I will see all of you all later. I know my I had grandiose plans for getting through all of these armies, and then like life happened, and I just have not been doing as many as I wanted to. But yeah, I mean, we can do more. And I remember I was like, before I was like, oh, I'm going to be on vacation. I'm not going to want to do that. And then I remember I'm like, I'm going to be at the beach in Maine with my in-laws. I'm going to want to hide inside and do reviews of armies as much as possible next week. So there may be more. There may be more.
Hey, listen, I can do ogres for you too. Been playing
Oh,
ogres a lot the last over week too. I'll tell you right now, ogres are gonna be a problem.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at them yet. I have not looked at them yet.
Easy turn 1 alpha charge with Iron Guts. Big units of Iron Guts straight across the table, India. It's gross.
Nice.
All right.
All right. Well, that is it for now, y'all. I'll talk to you all later. Let's hit the
Bye, everybody.
end stream button if I can actually hit that properly.